Modern engineers are baffled. The ancient Egyptians built the pyramids without wheels, without cranes, without iron tools, yet somehow moved 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing 2.3 tons, to heights of 146 meters. Today, we're solving this 4,500-year-old mystery. But before we dive in, if you love uncovering ancient mysteries and mind-blowing engineering secrets, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our videos. Now let's get into it. The Great Pyramids of Giza, the only surviving wonder of the ancient world, built approximately 4,500 years ago, between 2580 and 2560 BCE. Let's talk numbers. The Great Pyramid stands at 146 meters tall, just slightly shorter than the Washington Monument. It covers 13.1 acres of land. And here's the mind-blowing part. 2.3 million stone blocks, each averaging 2.3 tons, some weighing up to 80 tons. When modern engineers look at these structures, they're stunned. Because the ancient Egyptians didn't have the technology we use today. No wheels, no cranes, no pulley systems, no iron tools, just copper and bronze. And most importantly, these pyramids were completed in about 20 years. So how did they do it? The answer reveals the genius of ancient Egyptian engineering. First, pyramid construction didn't start with randomly picking a location. Engineers needed to find solid bedrock. Then, they had to level this area with millimeter precision. And here's the first shocking fact. The Giza Plateau was leveled across 13.1 acres with an error of only a fraction of an inch. That's the kind of accuracy you'd achieve with modern laser leveling equipment. 4,500 years ago, how did they do it? Using a simple but brilliant tool, the plumb level. They used gravity to create perfectly horizontal surfaces. This tool is still used today. For measurements, they used a royal cubit, a standardized rod measuring 52.5 centimeters. Not just any forearm to fingertip measurement, but a royal standard. Precision was critical. The pyramid's edges are perfectly aligned to the cardinal directions, north-south and east-west. How did they achieve this without compasses, and when the North Star wasn't even in its current position in the sky? They observed circumpolar stars and used the sun's shadow. With observation stakes and circles, they tracked the arcs of rising and setting stars, measured angles, and calculated true north. The Great Pyramid's deviation from true north is only 4 arc minutes, 1/15 of a degree. Extraordinary precision. Now for the real challenge, how did they extract and move 2.3 million stone blocks? At the quarries, workers used wooden picks to cut channels around the rock. These channels were wide and thick enough for wooden levers to fit. Then, blocks were pried from the bedrock using these levers. An archaeologist named Mark Lehner conducted experimental archaeology studies. According to his calculations, 12 workers could produce 8.5 stones per day. A crew of 1,212 people, working for 23 years, the estimate by historian Herodotus, could easily have quarried all the stones in the Great Pyramid. They smoothed the sides of stones using copper chisels. Because copper is so soft, the chisels needed constant sharpening. Lehner estimated 1 full-time chisel sharpener was needed for every 100 stone masons. Transportation was even more impressive. Stone blocks were placed on sledges, wooden devices similar to modern sleds. These sledges slid along roads made of wooden frames filled with limestone chips and plastered. Large ropes were tied to the blocks, and workers pulled them directly to the pyramid site. A wall painting from the 12th dynasty tomb of Jehotihotep shows 172 men pulling a statue weighing approximately 58 tons this way. One man is shown pouring water in front of the sledge, keeping the mud moist. And here's the critical technique: water or wet clay. It lubricated the path. Modern tests have shown that when wet sand or mud is used, friction is significantly reduced. Mark Lehner and stonemason Roger Hopkins were able to move a 2-ton stone with just 20 men. The Nile River was also crucial. A 2012 study revealed that 4,500 years ago, the Nile was higher than its current levels, and the ancient Egyptians could use artificial waterways to bring materials close to the pyramid site. So how did they raise these tons of stone to a height of 146 meters? This question has been debated for centuries. The most widely accepted theory: ramps. But what kind of ramp? Several theories exist. External spiral ramp. A ramp spiraling up the outside of the pyramid. Straight ramps. Straight ramps rising from all four sides. Internal ramp. Ramps passing through the interior of the pyramid. A 2017 discovery provided crucial clues. At the Hatnub quarry, inscriptions in a ramp dating to the time of the Great Pyramid's construction were discovered. And this ramp was much steeper than expected, over 20% gradient. Previous estimates suggested ramps in ancient Egypt wouldn't exceed 10%. An archaeologist named Frank Müller-Römer developed a theory that multiple ramps were used on all four sides simultaneously. This provides the most consistent solution for completing construction in the shortest time. An architect named Jean-Pierre Houdin proposed a different theory: external ramps for the first 30%, then internal ramps. The stones from the external ramps were later recycled into the pyramid's upper levels. This explains why no ramp remnants have been found. Recently, a 2024 study published in PLoS 1 suggested that a hydraulic lifting system might have been used. This theory proposes that stones could have been raised using water power. So, who built this? Herodotus mentions 100,000 workers. Modern calculations give different numbers. Physicist Kurt Mendelssohn calculated a maximum of 50,000 men. Ludwig Borchardt and Louis Kroon determined the number as 36,000. In 2013, Pierre Tallet and his team found papyrus fragments at Wadi al-Jarf on the Red Sea coast. These contain details from the diaries of workers on the Great Pyramid. These documents debunked more fantastic theories like aliens.
Roland Enmarch from Cambridge University says these documents are the most important find in his 30-year career. It shows it was a very large logistical undertaking, but still just a construction project.
Excavations at the lost city of the Pyramids in Giza reveal how workers lived. Mark Lehner says the long barracks separated by wide streets were thousands of years ahead of their time. Workers came and went on a rotation system. It was a genuine socialization experience.
The city also housed a craft community that fed, housed, and clothed the pyramid workers. Finally, let's look at Egyptian mathematical knowledge. The pyramid angles were precisely calculated. Khufu's pyramid slope was expressed using a unit called seked, essentially the tangent of angles. The tangent of the angle the pyramid's corners make with the horizontal is 1.27, corresponding to an angle of 57.6 degrees. In ancient Egyptian measurements, 1 cubit divided by 5 palms and 2 digits. This gives a seked measure of 1.27. The pyramid consisted of 210 layers, each built in steps approximately 0.70 meters high and 0.55 meters wide. Then, limestone casing stones were added over these steps to create smooth surfaces. So how did the ancient Egyptians build the pyramids without wheels, cranes, or modern machinery? The answer is simple yet astounding. Smart engineering, simple but effective tools, a massive workforce, and incredible organization. Ropes, levers, sledges, ramps, water, and of course, limitless human power. With these techniques, they created a miracle in 20 years. Today, 4,500 years later, these pyramids still stand. And modern engineers are still in awe of this precision. Ancient Egypt shows us this. Sometimes the simplest solutions can solve the most complex problems. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow our channel for more videos about ancient civilization secrets and the most fascinating topics in science. Share in the comments what you think about the pyramids. What other ancient structures should we make videos about? See you in the next video.